Oh yeah, I want it all. Got me feeling like I wanna be that guy. I wanna kiss your eyes. I wanna drink at your smile. I wanna feel like I got my soul's on fire. I wanna stay up all right. Got everything working at 6:30 this morning. That's a good omen. What up, everyone? My name is Scott Redler, Chief Strategic Officer of TVLive.com. It is 6:30. We have a real interesting week in front of us. I know we've got complicated markets and complicated times, but you know what? You use technicals with a process and a system. Hopefully, you got some risk down. Below the 821 day in the S&P and the Qs, you don't sit in things, you become tactical. But also at this area of the market, you don't hide under your desk and you figure out where the opportunities are. So let me say hello. So let me say good morning to my dogs around the world. Who do we got? Who do we got? Who we got? Let me put the chart up while we're waiting here. We got SM in the house. What up? We got Finman in the house. You're a little late this morning. It's all right. I won't hold it against you. Who else we got? Who else we got? Good morning from Nebraska. Okay. There you go. We got DeQuester in the house. We got, what's up, Jack? Always up and consistent. We got Fresh Meadows. We got Charleston. Switzerland. How's it going, my man? What up, Austin? Hope everyone's ready for what could be a very profitable week on all time frames. Not just actively, maybe on an intermediate time frame, and a little long term. Now things are starting to get a little interesting. Anyway, what up, South Carolina? What up, South Bend? How you doing, Nashville? Got Baskin Ridge in the house. What up, what up? Hope everyone had a great Mother's Day. My mom was from Florida, so I had the luxury of hanging out with her. My mother-in-law and my dad, which was great. My dad just dropped me off for work, actually. Kind of like when Zoe does in school, so I could have my car. There you go, there you go. Okay, it is May 9th. Today is Victory Day, and Putin said that he invaded the Ukraine because he thought the West was going to invade Russia. Friggin' propaganda crap. Anyway, crazy that war is still going on. My heart goes out to all my Ukrainian friends that lives were turned upside down, civilians killed, and I think we could do a little bit more than just give them some weapons. But anyway, we're talking about the market. That's just one of the macro narrative headwinds. I hear you. What up, you? What up, Ruppesol? What up, Punks? How you doing? Alexa off. Okay, all right. It's time for Alexa to be off. All right, Alexa off. All right, so guys, listen. You can't control the action of the market. You can only control your keyboard. You can only control your process. You can only control the amount of risk you have on. And what you could also control is your time frame. How are you approaching the market? If you're on an intermediate time frame and you have a 401k and you don't trade for a living, you know what? Don't worry about your balances. Hopefully you're putting money into an S&P fund. You're doing it every month. And this too shall pass. Think about the financial crisis. It took 2 years. 2007, 2008 was horrendous because you also had a housing crisis. But all it was 2 years or so. And then by 2010, 2011, market was back at high. So don't worry about your statements. If you have a cash account, okay, and you've been waiting to put it to work because you took it out before the financial crisis or the pandemic, now we're getting into a juicy time where if we can break below 4,000, I think I will definitely be putting my wife's blood in the street account to work. But hopefully we need a close on the lows for that because she's at Bright House and you only get the closing print. Last Monday, when we broke below 410 and came back above it, it was like a 3-4% range, so it didn't work. But anyway, we'll get to that. So cash is king, definitely been king if you're active. Listen, I wrote a bunch of different ebooks, one on risk management, another one on moving averages. And if you've been part of the Alpha team or part of Redler Ultimate Access, you've seen, or Redler All Access, I've been sitting in 2-3 positions and I've been just trying to create cash flow, stay out of the way, have some paper cuts because there's been annihilation out there. I've spoken to some friends who have been sitting in these things for months, whether they were the Kathy Wood names, the high growth names, the alternative energy names, even names like Amazon, or Facebook or Netflix. They've been annihilated. So the moving averages would have helped them as well, but even if they weren't trading actively for a living, even if they were just active investing, because if you're going to invest in stocks, I still consider you an active investor. If you're going to try and pick out individual names, you're an active investor. Maybe you don't do it for a living, but you're still an active investor, and you need to know how to read technicals and you need to have your process together. So anyway, for today, last night, or over the weekend, everyone's like, Red Dog, did you see Bitcoin? I'm like, yeah, I saw Bitcoin. Doesn't it make sense? It broke 37,000. It broke its little ascending channel. So now there's a level at 33 and there's another level at 29. Like, well, I know you're in 50% cash in your crypto account. Where are your good till cancel orders? So I'll get to that. And then they're like, what do you think happens with the market this weekend? I'm like, well, Bitcoin and crypto has been a leading indicator. And if crypto's getting crushed this weekend, hopefully the futures are getting crushed because it's time to get away from this range. It's time to get some speed, some potential capitulation, a crazy drastic day. Last week, after all that action back and forth, we were still in the same range, which although there was craziness underneath the surface where hedge fund managers are getting abused back and forth and people's stocks were making monthly lows, yearly lows, the S&P was just hanging here. And that's not how a bottom happens, or even a short-term bottom, because who knows, maybe we get a tradable bottom this week with the CPI, but then that might not even be the bottom of 2022. So anyway, for today, the SPYs right now are down 6. So here's what's happening in Europe. Okay, in Europe, it's not down that much actually. The DAX is only down 1.1%, so Europe's red. Asia's red. The SPYs right now are we're down 6. Okay, right? What were the SPYs down? The SPYs are down 738. So the SPYs right now are 403.96. You know what, guys? That's good. Let the SPYs stay below 405. Let the sellers keep it below, not reclaim it, and let's get some fear through 400. Let's get to 390s. If that were to happen, maybe we get some kind of washout versus the range trade that we've seen here. Look at this choppy mess. We were choppy between this 405 and 420, almost all year. We were at 420 in January, then we were at 420 again in March, and then we were at 420 March 15th. So we've been in this area for a long time, even though, ARK is, I don't even know how far off the highs, or the small caps have been annihilated. The XBI has been annihilated. Stocks like Peloton, 140 to 15. Zoom, obviously, if you broke every rule of those things, you know what? You better learn a new process. But either which way, here's your 405. So for today, we need to stay below 405 to just say 407. And then we see what type of probing to the downside we're going to have. And, I've shown you guys this weekly chart so many times. And, when I wrote my 2022 report, which I do every single year, was the most bearish I've ever been. And everyone's like, Redler, aren't you? You're a perma bull. I'm like, I'm not a perma bull. I had my best year during 2008, and I did fantastic during the pandemic because I'm a perma trader and I use technical analysis. When we're above the 821 day, I don't try and be too smart. But anyway, coming into this year, you had inflation, you had the overstimulus, whatever. So anyway, here is where the ascending channel broke, right around 457. We went to 410, 420, came back up, retested this area. They actually squeezed some shorts out. That wasn't easy. And I've been showing you guys this pattern for a while. So where do I think it can go? I'm not saying it can go there today, but I've been saying to everyone, listen, in 2018, the S&P was off 20%. And the NASDAQ was down like 27%. And this is all we did leading into it. Okay, and the macro environment wasn't as bad then. You had inflation, but you didn't have the Russian invasion of Ukraine. You didn't have what's happening all over Europe. You didn't have oil sustaining a move above 100 for a while. You didn't have COVID the way it's been. You didn't have lockdowns and zero tolerance in Beijing and Shanghai. So anyway, and you didn't have a move like this prior. So with 100% move in the S&P, in the past 3 years, you would think you can get more than a 15% correction from the highs. That's why, yes, I put money in every single month to my S&P accounts. Okay, but my wife's blood in the street account hasn't been put to work yet. But it might today. If we close in the dead lows today, I'll put a third of her account in, and then I'll wait for here, and then I'll wait for there, to see if I could put the other 2/3. And I did the same thing here. I think I started putting her account into work right here, and then I did it twice. And I think I went away. I went back to cash right around here, and I missed that part of it. But for her account, all I do is try and carve out 15% or so every few years, and then the rest stays into a fixed instrument. But anyway, so 405, it's got to stay below, and then we'll see what type of price discovery we have. The Qs are going to be very important also. The Qs, go to the daily chart real quickly. The daily chart on the Qs right here. Here's this 309. I went below 305. Will the Q stay below 305? Will the Q stay below 305? Say that to yourself. As long as the Q stay below 305, you need to be careful. Okay, maybe there's a few plays versus a 15-minute low for a red to green if that's going to happen today, but I'd rather not. We played the red to green game a few times last week, and you can knick-knack for money, but it's such a choppy mess. You can only use the 3- and 5-minute charts. What numbers, please? Chart too small to read? Really? Here. This is the Qs. Here's 3511. We're right below that. Okay. And then if you want to look at the weekly chart, by the way, remember this? That was your get out of Dodge quickly. That was right there. You had this active sequence break to the downside, and then it got confirmed right there. So if sometimes you're like, how did this happen? The charts told you to get the hell out of the way and have boatloads of cash and play by both sides. I'm not a great short, so I'd rather just sit in lots of cash. I'm not a great short. So you know what I did last week? I bought SPY puts to come in this week. I bought Apple puts, even though everyone used to be like, Red Dog's the Apple trader, just in case, and Microsoft puts. So I have 3 different sets of puts. So I'm actually getting paid today. We are oversold a little bit, but we're still in that same spot. We went out, the oscillator was minus 36, and now it's probably going to be oversold. So it's going to be hard to press the open. You had to kind of be a little short anticipating it. But anyway, 305.11. The weekly chart here looks exactly the same almost as the SPYs. You know, you had this head and shoulders top. This is where the trend broke. This was a great trend until it broke below all the moving averages. And then you did have a little bit of a squeeze that they made it hard. This hasn't been so easy to be short either. But anyway, we did close below 312, 305. So these are your levels on the weekly. You know, you have the longer we stay below 305. I'm not saying, I don't know if we can stay below it today. Then you have like 294, which is a spot. This is that low right here. This is actually that's 297. These are, you know, that's where you come up with this little point of reference. And then here's the 200-day, which is a very, very big level around 275. If we get to 275 in the Qs, we're probably at 385 in the SPYs if you overlay it. So the two keys on whether we could really get downside, in my humble opinion, today, tomorrow, is whether they could finally break Apple and Microsoft, because there's been money hiding in there. So if it becomes a source of funds and they start to break those, that will get the capitulatory move probably in the SPYs and the Qs. And if you look at Microsoft, which is the reason why I have puts, I'm actually short. I'm short Microsoft coming in. I just covered a little bit. Microsoft actually is a little bit below the level that I was looking at. Oh, wow, look at that. Now it's at 267. So that's good. I'm actually getting paid short. Red Dog is short Microsoft, and I have puts, and I'm getting paid, and everyone's like, you're a perma bull. You know what? For the last decade, we've been going up for a while. But anyway, Microsoft's below 267. Why did I have puts on, and why am I short? Because look at this head and shoulders top pattern. I said if it breaks below 270, it could see 250, and this would probably help bring the indices down. Sorry, you know, you're allowed to be short as a trader also. I'm not preying on America by, you know, this is what we do. We're only the jockeys. We're not the horses in this race. The horses are much bigger than we are. We just try and ride them here and there and figure out which way, you know, they're going. Or if like you're a sailboat, I'm just adjusting the sail here and the wind is taking us, you know. Everyone could adjust the sail. The ocean's the ocean, and so is the wind. But anyway, so the longer we stay below 270, maybe it continues to the downside. But again, get below and stay below. Right now it's below, it's got to stay below. You know, Apple also is the same thing. Apple has been hiding here. This is the weekly chart on Apple. You know, you have all these lockdowns in China. I got to believe that the production there is not going to be, you know, so steady. And I also think that people probably in China aren't buying. I would think that the iPhone numbers are going to be a little bit off. But I'm not saying that just to talk my own book of some inputs. But anyway, you have 150 to 153. If that were to break, there is a void down to the 138s. So maybe if all of a sudden Apple's down 3 and goes green, and Microsoft it's down 7, you know, takes back half, it's just going to be another choppier day and putting off the inevitable. But if they do, you know, get pressured, you'll probably see that move in the indices that you need to move. You know, see sometimes you need to see this crazy formula before you get to a better situation if you want to be long. Just because that's just the way it is. I've been doing this for 22 years, and I know what has to happen, how short-term bottoms are put in, and not the way it was last week. So today's getting a little bit closer. And the reason why, let me show you Bitcoin. Everyone's like, Red Dog, look at the weekly on Bitcoin. You know, are you ready to get in there yet? I'm like, well, this is 33. Okay, this is what we wrote. I said this, I sent you guys this chart so many times last week too. Everyone's like, oh, you do it after the fact. I'm like, you know what? I don't do it after the fact. If you tune into the 6:30 every day, I go over it every single day. And once we broke 37,000, I'm like, now you have a void to 33. And look how fast that happened, 4,000 like that. And remember, we failed right there. So anyway, I went to 50% cash in my crypto accounts here. And I did trade it here and there, and now I'm waiting. Okay, I'm not buying 33,000, even though it might be the short-term low today. I don't care. I own a little Bitcoin already. I don't need it. Here's this prior support area that happened in that June, July. So I have bids in at 29.5, and then I'm hoping this doesn't happen, this void. If that happens, that means the market's really getting crushed. So I'd rather wait to the 29 area, and if I miss this spot, I miss this spot. But 33,000 is a little spot. Go to Ethereum. Also, I'm waiting very, very carefully just because I don't need to own it here. Okay, I'll wait. I don't own any Ethereum actually. I haven't even looked at this this one in a little bit here. Yeah, this is the weekly chart. I haven't gone to this one. It's approaching what? This low here is 2,300. This low here was 2,159. So, you know, this is one spot. So at this point, yeah, maybe this is 21 to 23. You could put some bids there, and then this was the 29K area is this area. I have my bids in here just in case. Otherwise, I don't need it for now. But this is where, you know, your little false breakout. So I'd be very careful where you want to buy some of these things, et cetera, et cetera. But anyway, that's Ethereum. I haven't marked up this chart in a while. I've been doing more of the, if you look at the daily charts of Ethereum. Okay, Ethereum broke right here again. Look at that off a cliff, 2,700. I said Ethereum can see 21 to 2,300, whereas now this is about 2,300. And if you look at the weekly, this is 2,300 and this is 2,159. So you have daily charts and you have weekly charts. So you got to know which ones you're looking at. And at this point, the void is getting filled after breaking this. Look, remember this little false breakout descending channel? You never want to see a move happen and then it get negated the next day. That just shows you it was a fake out, just showed you it was a false move. So you usually get a fast move from a false move. So if you came in and bought in here and that happened, you just got trapped and now look. So 2159 to 2300 is a spot in Ethereum. You know, some guys like Red Dog, when's it going to end? I don't know when it's going to end. All I know is I could follow situations that give me clues on how close we are to a situation to change. Right now, we've been in an active sequence to the downside for most of this year. The S&P and the Qs have been below the 821 day for most of this year. Inflation is high. The government gave out free money to everybody, even my parents. My parents were here for Mother's Day. They got a new kitchen because COVID happened. Why did they, you know, their income didn't change during COVID because they get their, you know, their Social Security and this and that, but they got sent like, I don't even know, 2 checks for however, I didn't get those checks, and they got a new kitchen. So everyone spent on everything. And now they don't have that money to spend on everything, so things are going to be slower. The earnings are, the comps are worse, and that's what happens when you send free money everywhere and you flood the system and the money supply. And now you have QE being taken away, pace of purchase is done. Now they have to reduce the balance sheet and they have to raise rates. So not the best environment for equities. But times like this happen, and if you're in a lot of cash and you're not over your skis and you didn't, you know, go out and buy yourself a twice the size house because you had a great trading year in 2020 or 2021, you get to weather the storm and you know, you can embrace the volatility, and if you're in a good position, you could really profit from it. I hate to profit from others' misfortunes, but there are people who are on margin. There are accounts that can get blown up. There are situations where people aren't going to be able to hold things that they have because they can't come up with it. And that's when you are sitting back, I'll take it, I'll take it. I'm not on margin. I have a cash account. I've been, you know, in a lot of cash, and I've been tactical. And you get to have the luxury of, you know, play those tradable areas where people are being forced to sell. Sorry. But anyway, it does happen. So what's one more thing? Oh, you guys run Tesla? Tesla's kind of interesting here. Tesla, to me, kind of is in the same ballpark as an Apple and a Microsoft, but obviously it's a much more higher valuation. Tesla is like the poster child of growth. So when you look at Tesla, it gives you clues of what's happening with the market. And right now, Tesla, I do believe, is down a bunch. It's probably down like 20. I love being long Tesla when Tesla is doing well. I love being long Tesla, and I love Elon Musk. When Elon Musk is above the 821 day, he's a genius. When he's below the 821 day, he's a little eccentric. Meanwhile, he's right there. But right here, this is when Tesla to me changed, when they sold the good earnings. That great positive report they had, well, it was sold. And then what happened here? 973, a lot of people made really good money shorting Tesla. 2 different patterns. This one was your head and shoulders bottom, and above the 8-day, and this made me a lot of money in that March active sequence that ended right there with the red dog reversal to make a lower high. Then they sold earnings, and then it sold right here, and then it's been very choppy. So right now, Tesla is 833. So it's above 821 and below 843. So what will Tesla do today? Tesla will probably give you some clues on what type of day we're going to have. Are they going to buy the weakness and come off lows and give us some opportunity because I'm not on the water coming in? Or is today really going to be that trend down day where all the selling happens, where we maybe get really close to some kind of capitulation for heading into the CPI Wednesday? But are we going to hold 821 or not? Are we going to stay below 843 or not? These are the thoughts in my head. It's at 834 right now. It's right smack in the middle. So Tesla is at 834, right smack in the middle, above 821 and below 843. So that right there can give you some clues. Microsoft also, does it stay below 270? That can give you some clues on what type of day today. Will Apple see 150, or are they going to bring it from red to green and not be able to really have the bears roar? So that's my thought process. And then you have to watch the TLT. The TLT has been a leading indicator, and the TLT's made another low, lower lows, higher lows, lower highs and lower lows is the TLT. That means yields are going up, and that's a problem. And right now the TLTs are on the lows or making a new low today, right? So the TLTs are at 112 right there. That means yields are higher, and that's what's controlling the futures and keeping the pressure on. So you have to know relationships also if you're an active trader. So anyway, I'm going to get yelled at 6:51, trying to give you guys some keys to my thoughts for today and tomorrow. Hopefully you came in real light. I came in pretty net short and making money, so I'm talking my own book that I'm usually not so bearish, but you know, technicals are technicals, action is action. I've seen this all before. So hopefully you've seen it too and you're not caught, and you can embrace the volatility and look for opportunities, right? What's a you know, Red Dog, you're lucky. I'm not lucky. I'm up at 4:45 every day and I prepare. And I'm not always right, but you know, when I'm not right, I get out and I use my stops. I don't get louder. Don't follow people on Twitter that give ideas, and when they're wrong, they get louder because they don't want to be wrong instead of using their stops and living to fight another day. Because as traders, that's what you have to do. And long term, you have to have a process and a plan you can afford. I appreciate you, my dogs, for tuning in. I'm going to post some charts. I got to get going. You know, we do have a deal if you want to be part of the Alpha team. You know, $7 for 7 days. I think my coffee now costs about $7. So if you want to spend $7 for 7 days of hanging out with me in the Alpha team and figuring out how you can make some money, then hopefully become a subscriber for the year, I'd appreciate that too. I love finding like-minded individuals that have discipline and process and are also just good guys and good girls that have a lot of fun in life, because you're dead a long time, so you might as well you know, live life with the glass half full. And my thoughts go out to my friends in the Ukraine, and hopefully you guys stay strong and you know, you get more help as much as needed. Bye, guys.